Hi guys, Soup here, and today we're going to talk about button boxes, talking about how to make one yourself for cheap. So we all know about button boxes for sim racing. You can put one of these on your rig. It's awfully convenient. You can program all sorts of buttons through iRacing. I program my wipers on here. I program my start and ignition on here. But some of the downsides we don't really talk about, which all of us are painfully aware of that are involved in sim racing, is that they're pretty expensive to buy. So I took it upon myself to figure out how to make one on the cheap, and I'm going to share my tips with you that I found. I have affiliate links in the description for everything that I talk about in this video. If you use the affiliate links through Amazon and end up purchasing these products, it doesn't cost you any extra, and it does help out my channel, so I would appreciate you guys using the links. So you're going to need a couple toggle switches, but I'm going to be changing these out with some momentary toggles, which are a little bit different. These momentary toggles, they actually, you just push them up and they spring back, and that is the switch on, and then switch them off by hitting the button again. So I noticed that the permanent toggles that change position to up when you push the button actually continually press the button in iRacing. And since I'm building this button box specifically for iRacing, I decided to switch out these toggle switches with these momentary toggle switches. So I'm going to be doing that now. Unfortunately, I only have 2 momentary toggle switches, so I'm going to switch out 2 permanent toggle switches with 2 momentary toggles, and then I'll leave one of the toggle switches. If you want to build one like I have here, you're going to need toggle switches. You can get buttons on Amazon too. I'll put an affiliate link for that as well. If you want to do a push button starter, you're going to need a push button starter. And then if you want to do an ignition switch with a momentary toggle, you can get a cover to put on it. The last 2 things that you're going to need are a project box. You can mount this directly to your rig. There's some holes in the back. Any 80/20 aluminum profile rig, you'll be able to mount this to with some T-nuts. And then you will need a USB controller, which that's what this little circuit board is just a USB controller. And I will show you how to work that here in just a minute. But let's go ahead and get started and start switching out these toggles, and then we'll get it set up in iRacing and on the computer. In order to drill these holes into the project box, you can use any old drill, but I would recommend using a drill press and measuring really accurately. I didn't. This was the first time I built one, and I just wanted to drill some holes and get some buttons on it. And you can see they're not very evenly spaced apart. They're not very symmetrical. So I would recommend definitely measuring and probably using a drill press to drill these instead of just using a hand drill like I did. So you can see these toggle switches are just connected with wires that actually come with the USB controller as a kit. I'll show you how I connect those here in just a second when I switch them out to momentary toggles. When you get these, you'll see that they come with these wires and they have these little clips on them. You can just cut them off and strip them to put them on there, and just use the wire like I'm going to do. I'll show you here in just a second. Now that I have these wires removed from my old toggle switches, I'm going to go ahead and attach them to the momentary toggle switches that I want to add to the box, which is really easy to do. And I don't think it matters which side is red and which side is black, because I think that you're just completing the circuit regardless. I could be wrong about that. Alright, so now these wires are connected to the momentary toggle switches, and we're going to put them back in the box and then connect them up to the USB board. Okay, so those are on now. I got those 2 momentary toggle switches, and I just need to connect them back up to the USB board. So it looks like I had them here and here. So it doesn't really matter what order, because I'll show you once we get it on the computer how to bind it back up with different buttons. So now I have that plugged in right there. All right, so now we would take this and you just throw this in the box. The USB connects up right here. The USB power and the cord that goes to the computer. So we'll mount this part to the rig, and then we'll go ahead and put the face back on once we do it and get it plugged in to the PC. Once you get the USB circuit board connected to your computer and back in the project box, you can then open up USB game controllers on your PC, and you can do that just by searching in the Windows search bar, and you'll see that the generic USB joystick is now installed. You may have to install it the first time you plug it in, but it installs very quickly. So once you click on generic USB joystick, you will see the properties come up, and then you can see which buttons are bound to which switches and buttons on your button box. So you can see my toggle switch is button 5. You can see the momentary toggle is the first momentary toggle from left to right is 3. Second momentary toggle is 4. Push button start is 2. And then my ignition switch is 1. All right, so now that we're in iRacing, if we go to options, then we're gonna go to control. We could set the windshield wipers to something. Maybe we'll set those to the regular toggle switch. There we go. Now remember what I was saying, whenever you toggle a regular toggle switch in iRacing, it continually pushes the button, which is why I switched over to those momentary toggles. I don't think it's gonna hurt anything on the windshield wipers. So let's turn the windshield wipers off. So for ignition, we're gonna use that switch. And then for starter, we're gonna hit that button. Make the headlight flash be this one. And then I'm gonna make windshield wipers on, and then I'm gonna make trigger windshield wipers be this middle one. All right, so now we'll go jump into the car, and you'll be able to see how this works out. So I'm gonna hit the ignition comes on. Go ahead and close that so I don't do it again. Hit my push button start, it comes on. Now you can see I have headlight flash on the right here. Now we'll take a look at that here in a minute. I don't know if we can tell if that's actually working, but it is working. And then we have the, if we just want to toggle the windshield wipers once, we can hit that. And then if we want them on permanently, we can turn them on permanently with the toggle switch, not the momentary toggles. So that is a cheap, inexpensive button box that you can build all with parts from Amazon. You don't need any special talents or electrical abilities to put it together. Hook it up, get it installed on your rig, and use it in iRacing. See the headlights flashing. There it is. See it work. Now everybody's gonna move out of the way so I can pass.